But, oh goodness. My phone's going off. Oh, stop it. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey, and we are about to get very, very nerdy. Looking at 2020 goals. Pretty sure I reacted to 2019 goals in this shirt, as well as my 2019 goals were in this shirt. This is just my reacting shirt, apparently. So it is the time of the year where I bring out the cell phone and I look and react to the goals that I made for that year. So I have the video, my plans and goals of 2020 pulled up. I honestly remember one. I remember one goal from this year, which was the TBR jars. But I don't remember anything else, so this will be very interesting. I feel like this doesn't need a long introduction. I will leave a link down below to the actual 2020 goals video if you want to see it all the way through, and probably better quality. But let's just get started. Like I said, I've got it pulled up on my phone. Snuggle down, get yourself a hot drink of your choice and a fun mug that you love. And let's see how I did in 2020. Honestly, have no idea. Like, I'm nervous, you guys. I am nervous. Okay, here we go. Oh, it would help if I had volume. There we go. Let me know down below if same. They don't know how to speak English. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey, and we're about to get very, very nerdy with a plan for 2020. Hey, I'm wearing those earrings! I thought today what we would do was I would go through the new ones that I kind of have on this list. There are both channel and reading goals. The first one is one that, like, I can't really control, but I'm gonna, like, do my darndest to not do it, and that is both years that I've been here on YouTube. Something's happened in the middle of the summer where I was gone for, like, 3 or 4 months. Now, the first time, it started out as not my fault because I had some, like, technical difficulties, and, like, I couldn't get any of the videos that I had recorded to a place where I could edit them, but, like, I fixed it eventually, and I still didn't post. So, like, that was on me. But then, like, this past year, 2019, I got married in the summer, so, like, I had to take time away to, like, do that. But I'm hoping, knock on wood, that, like, nothing happens this coming summer where, like, I have to disappear for multiple months at a time. Oh, if only I knew. So, stop talking. Shush. Okay. So, I did not take a break this summer. I went through the entire year. And I think, like, the only time I, like, didn't upload on, like, my upload days, which I've actually never publicly declared, but they're Wednesdays and Saturdays, is, like, occasionally I would have technical difficulties, so I'd upload them, like, the day after, so, like, Thursday. But I never outright missed a day, I don't think. So I feel like, go Kelsey. The 2 years before this one, something happened in the summer, and I always, like, took a 2-month break. And this year I did not do that because I also was, like, not doing anything, like the world was not doing anything. If only little old beginning of 2020 Kelsey knew what stuff was about to hit the fan in 2020. But I did not take any breaks. I actually, like, got really into my booktube channel because I didn't have a job for most of this beginning of this year, and literally YouTube is what I did because I didn't know what else to do. I got bored really easily just being at home all of the time. So I'm sure many of you can relate, considering that 2020 has been awful. But I did not take a break, so 1 for 1. Should I be keeping score? I'm too lazy. The next one is one that I've technically already done, but I just wanted to mention it here. And if you noticed, I have a brand new intro. Yeah, I did new intros and outros for this year, which was a lot of fun and something I've been wanting to do. And I think I'm going to update them for 2021. And it won't be much. It'll be like a couple of videos that, like, the angle, like, it wasn't level when I recorded it, and so it's been bothering me for an entire year, and I just need to redo them. But I actually really like my intro and outro. I think it works really well, and it's just fun. And yeah, I was really proud of intros and outros and how I did that in 2020. So 2 for 2. And the last channel goal actually kind of like wraps up with the reading goal, so that's why I wanted to put it last. And that was a planner. One thing that I've definitely mentioned on this channel. Yes, I did have an entire reading planner that I created. I did that in the entire year. I kept a reading planner where I kept notes for every single book that I read, and throughout the year it changed on like, at the beginning of the year I had them in sections of like characters, locations, worlds, well, locations and worlds were together, the writing style, things like that, so that I could put my thoughts as I was reading in each one of those little boxes. And after a while I was realizing that I was saying the same things, that I didn't need those giant boxes, so I just basically created a page for each book that I read and just like wrote down all my thoughts. And then when I did wrap-ups, that's I think why my wrap-ups have just become so much longer, as well as the fact that I've been reading way more books than I used to. But I think it helped me out a lot, so it wasn't just like, this book is great and I don't know why, thanks for watching. Like, that was really boring and I didn't like that that's what I was doing. I wanted to actually have like coherent thoughts and actually have things that made sense to be reviewed. So I did keep a reading planner the entire year. I'm planning on doing it again in 2021. I've actually already started, I already bought like the actual planner I'm going to use. I just need to like fill it out. I started brainstorming. It's going to be roughly the same idea. It's just that like now I have like an actual bullet journal with like the dotted pages instead of what I was using, which was just random books I had around the house, which were great, except for that like the paper was really thin, so some of the stuff would like bleed through. I love the bullet journaling. It's fun. I'm not amazing. I just keep track of what I read. So it's more of like reading journals than bullet journals, but like same thing. 3 for 3 on my channel goals. I did what I wanted to do, and I kept a reading planner, so yay me. At least in the last few months, I'm not happy with my wrap-ups because I feel like I don't go as in-depth as I can with some of them. I admit that like I'm not the most in-depth person when it comes to reading, but I feel like I can do better. I think I'm going to be able to do what I want to do, which also kind of ties into the next one, which basically is the same thing. And that with my wrap-ups, I want to do stats. I've been seeing a lot of people do stats. I definitely did stats in all of my wrap-ups this year, and it was a lot of fun. It definitely showed me my reading for like each month has incredibly increased. It's insane how much reading I've gotten done, and like I granted most of my reading is via audiobooks, but I knew that going in, but like it skyrocketed this year. No, but it was fun to do stats. I really liked doing that because it helped me keep track of things, and I just thought it was fun. Oh, I'm doing good so far. So that's like a couple changes that I want to do in my wrap-ups, and I think that this planner that I've created, as well as the Owl Crate one that they have sent out, will really help me do exactly what I want to do. So as far as like my actual reading this year, my goal on Goodreads, I bumped it up just a little bit to 60. I had 50 last year, and I don't remember when I passed this, but it was in the summer. I don't know how many books I've read this entire year because it's still technically not over as of filming this, but I think we're basically at 150. I never thought I'd hit 100. Like, that is insane to me. But I definitely surpassed that. Very easily. Goodreads goals to me are just fun guidelines, and if I can read that much, that would be great, but like I'm not really, like it's one of those things that I'm like, that's great, but like whatever. And so like that's why I bumped it up a little bit, because like I don't want to pressure myself, because I know I could read at least 60 books in a year. I just wanted to have it to like say that I have it. And then another thing that I really want to do is I want to get around to the series that I have, because there's quite a few that I'm in the middle of. I'm going to do a separate video on them, but like I've already started making the list of all the series that I'm currently reading, whether that is, they've all... I have no idea how well I did on this one. I for sure started some series. I finished the School for Good and Evil series. I think I'd only read the first one before 2020, and I read 2 through 6 this year. So like that was really cool. I
think I finished the Cruel Prince or the Folk in the Air series as well this year. Yikes. I don't even know how to like, I'm looking at my shelves like they're gonna tell me. I mean, I've started some series that I've had on my shelves for a long time. I finished a couple series. I did the entire series of Unfortunate Events this year, except for the very first one. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how to tell if I did well in this one. Probably not as well as I wanted to do. That I can for sure tell you. And yeah, I feel like this is an ongoing goal for everybody, is just to like continue the series they're currently in, especially series that like have been out for a while and everyone else has read except for like you, or at least that's the way it feels. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, why did I say definitely so many times? I definitely finished some series and like continued with some series, or up to like the point of what's published right now. But I for sure started a lot more series this year. So this one's a mixed one. It could be a win, it could be a fail. And I don't know. I don't know.
Another goal for me is to read more library and owned books, because
I would say that I accomplished this because of COVID. I feel like because of COVID, my library didn't shut down all, I mean, it did for a couple of months, and then it's like slowly reopened. So I definitely have gotten a few books from the library, but not nearly as much as I would have in like a normal year. But that, I think, required me to read a lot of my owned books. Yes, I read some like ebooks from like Scribd and like at my library's digital library. Same with audiobooks, but I think I did read a lot of the owned books I have because of the circumstances of the year. So I would say that that's a win.
And since I've gotten married, I haven't actually gotten a library card to the closest library. So
I have now.
I need to do that first off. But also, like, I want to use it more. Like,
I would agree with that and say that I still want to use it more, but the way that the world is currently, I'm not sure when I will be able to start using it more. Like, I can, if I'm looking for something specific, then sure, I can go online and reserve it and pick it up that way. But if I just want to peruse the stacks and get a couple of things because they like speak to me, which is usually how I would do the library, is I would go in for something specific and then come out with like 3 other books. But I can't really do that right now. And their hours are very much similar to like my job's hours, and so like it's just not really possible right now, but that would be cool to do in the future.
I like having books, but like, I don't reread as much as I want to, and I know that once I read it, I'm probably not going to reread it for a very long time. I'm trying not to buy as much unless like I'm really excited, because there are books out there that I'm very excited about. Like, don't get me wrong.
Failed
So
at that.
that's the goal, is to read as many of the ones that I still own, because there's a lot of books that I own that I haven't read yet, and like use my library a lot more, because libraries are awesome and you should use libraries. And like, I'm really upset that I haven't been using it for like the past 6 months. Another reading goal of mine is one that I've already talked about in a special video, so I will make sure I link that above, and that is the TBR jars that I have created. But I have
Okay. So this is the only one that I knew going into it. Let me go get my list of the books that were in those jars and see how I actually did. Let's take a look. I will say that I definitely pulled 2 books and decided to read one every single month. I just didn't always read one every single month. The nonfiction jar definitely grew. Every time I bought a nonfiction book, I would put it in that jar. So that didn't ever stay the same. I think that by the end of the year there were 33 books in that, so not the 24 that I promised. But I read 13 books and DNF'd 2, so that would be 15. So that's about half, which is great for nonfiction. And the TBR fiction jar was 27, and I kept that at like, I'm not putting any more in basically, and I read 12. So I read 12. Well, wait a second. I haven't counted the one for December yet, which I've definitely read, and it's not marked off. So I read 12, which is great. That means I read a book every single month. Wow, I definitely thought like I had totally failed at that. Yikes. But that's really cool that I actually made much better than I thought. And I really loved the jars. I thought the jars were a super clever idea, especially the nonfiction jar, because I have so many books on my nonfiction shelf. I just don't read that much nonfiction. And I've picked up so many books, specifically like history books that I'm fascinated by, or like memoirs that I'm fascinated by, and I just never read them. So this was my way of saying, hey, read some more nonfiction. And I think that really helped because it's definitely made me more excited about some of the nonfiction I've got. There's a couple of nonfiction that you would have seen on my books to read in 2021 video, the standalones. There was this period between when I graduated college and now where like you don't want to do reading, especially nonfiction reading, because like that's all you did when you were in school. And I think I understood that there were going to be books about like nonfiction books that I was going to enjoy reading. I just hadn't gotten to a point where like it was a normal occurrence for me to be reading a nonfiction book. And I think I've gotten to that point. So I think the jars did what they were supposed to do, which was to get me to read some books that I've had on my shelf forever, whether it was fiction or nonfiction, and get me to read them. I think it did what it was supposed to, which was to get me to read some books that I've had for a long time. So cool. I will take those jars as a win. And like I said, they were so much fun. I'm really happy with that. I still can't believe I actually like succeeded in that goal.
Two separate jars here. This one is my non-fiction jar, so I put a ton of non-fiction books in here, and I'm going to be picking two out every single month and deciding between those which ones I want to read. And then the same with like my fiction jar. There's about 23 to 24 in each jar, so that I have a variety, because like I am a mood reader, but I also like structure, so like I've discovered that about myself in like the last year.
Still true.
And like I think this will help because it gives me a choice, and like I haven't been reading a lot of nonfiction books, so that's like what I really want to get to. I'm really excited about these TBR jars. Like I think that's gonna be really helpful, especially getting a bunch of books that like I really need to read. The last one is just a reread. Actually, I am currently rereading the Series of Unfortunate Events series with Serena for Wandering Mind, so I'll make sure to link her below because you should really check her out. She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's amazing. If you guys are not following her, what are you doing with your lives? But we had Buddy read the first one in the Series of Unfortunate Events because she had mentioned in a video that she'd never read it, and so I was like, I need to reread this series. So I reached out to her and we were like, hey, if you're interested, I would love to Buddy read this with you, because like I need to get back into the series because I remember nothing from it. And so we agreed to read the first one in December, and it was so much fun that we agreed to read the entire series throughout 2020 and finish them. And then we also watched the Netflix adaptation with Neil Patrick Harris in it along as well. As of filming this, we have not talked about the last book yet, and we have not watched the last season yet, but it is in the works. And this was so much fun. It was really interesting because as an adult reading those books, you definitely pick up on things that like I didn't pick up on when I was reading it when I was younger, and also reading with someone who'd never read the series before and getting like their honest reactions of it was just so much fun to read the series. And I'm really glad that I reread it because it definitely gives you, especially when you're older, a totally different view. It was so much fun to go back into. So yeah, that is also one that I completed. I think, did I say that was the last one?
That's it. That's what I've got.
So, I think I did everything. The only one that I don't really know is the series. How well I actually did on the series. I'm gonna count that one as a semi-win. But yeah, that's a look at my 2020 goals. What a crazy year to actually complete them all. I just had way too much free time is what I have decided happened this year. But let me know down below how you did on your goals for 2020. I know there's a few days left in the year, but let me know how you did. If you had any goals for yourself, let's chat about them. If you just had screw it by the time COVID happened and you were like, we're just gonna forget goals altogether, that is 100% acceptable. And I respect you for that. But yeah, let me know down below how you guys did, if you did. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll definitely be doing some 2021 goals, although they will not be as crazy and definitely not as in depth as this year. I've just kind of given up a little bit and said, we'll do a few and then we're just gonna like see what happens. It'll be the first video that you see in 2021, but I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there as well if you want to follow along on any of those, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye!